Hi everyone, I'm very happy to show you this presentation. It's one of the next following steps that we're going to start doing now. Due to the fact that we need to practice different ways to use technology to create knowledge, right? Okay, so we only have 15 minutes. This is free time on this app. And of course, if I need to make like longer presentations, I will probably record a second part, but in this case will be just one, okay? It won't take too long if we pay attention. In any case, you can always go back to this presentation and look at it again. So that way you can always double check what we have seen here, all right? Pretty much today what we need to look for is to learn the Spanish colonies. This is chapter 4, lesson 1 on your social studies book. It'll take over pages 146 to 151 as you can see right here. Okay? All right, so we're going to start with the first slide. Oops. This thing right here goes faster. What do we need to understand and know in this lesson is why did Spain set up colonies in North America? What reasons did they have to start, building these colonies, these new settlements, okay? Now, the words that we need to learn are, well, one second, I need to take this off. The words that we need to learn are vocabulary words: colony, plantation, slavery, borderlands, presidio, which is actually, or it sounds actually like Spanish, mission, and hacienda, another word that sounds like in Spanish. Okay, we are going to start with the first part, that is New Spain. You can find that in your book in page 147. There is an introduction that says, "For many days now, warriors from your Hopi village have been watching the actions of the newcomers. You have heard stories about how they ride animals much larger than wolves. You have also heard that sometimes when they arrive in a new place, a sickness sweeps across the land. You see one of the warriors making an arrowhead. Are we going to war? You ask. We shall see, he says, but we must be prepared." So that's the introduction that we have in order to get to this area that is called the Spanish colonies, and we will start with New Spain. So we are going to be settled in the early 1500s, okay? And this is when explorers were sent to claim lands to the Americas, okay? We have seen that there were Spanish explorers and other nations exploring, okay? Everybody tried to claim land, but here was a little problem. Every time they say, okay, I'm here in Florida, this belongs to Spain. There will be another nation, say for example, the British, that will also come and say, hey, this land belongs to us. So it was just a problem because they just claimed the land and they tried to keep on moving to the next areas inside, the continent. So no one stayed behind to protect those lands, okay? Now, we are finding that all the European countries are competing to win control of the Americas. They wanted to gain riches. Don't forget, they wanted to actually, make little settlements and start controlling the land. Okay. Native Americans also were living in these lands, and we have to understand they're not going to be very happy to see all these colonies trying to take over their own land. Okay. Now, the competing part starts here. Everybody's trying to compete and claim areas. So, the ones who were actually, exploring the most were the Spaniards, and they took over a lot of parts of the Americas. Okay, but we have to make a difference here between what is claiming and what is controlling. When you claim, you say this belongs to me, but are you controlling what you have, what you own? That was the question. So they needed to protect those lands from other European countries that wanted to control as well. Okay? So besides that, they needed to control the Native Americans, the tribes, and they needed to take their land away from them. Okay? So keep that in mind too. So the Spain country, the Spaniards, the conquistadors started to build colonies. Okay, and this started in 1535. Okay. Now the first colony which we talked about in the last lesson was New Spain. Okay. Now New Spain actually spread from east to west on the North America area and Central America as well, and the Caribbean. Now, in the way that they started, they actually built a capital city, which was actually Mexico City, next to Tenochtitlan, the Aztec capital at the time. Okay, they also included islands that belonged to them on the Caribbean Sea. Okay, and also the land of Panama. Now, with the time, we understood there were more areas, especially from the North America area, that actually became part of the New Spain. I was about saying North America, New Spain, guys, New Spain. Okay. All right. Another point that we need to take into account, and that one is in page 148. It starts there. It's the slavery in the Americas. Okay. Now, they had two reasons to be in this new land. And the reasons were they were looking for gold and silver, and they were trying to gain control of land. So once they gained control of the land, they needed to use that land and work it. So they grew plantations. They started to build large farms. So by 1550, we find around 100,000 colonists spread all over the United States, or the Americas, as it was called at the time, right? So besides Spanish colonies, we also had Portuguese colonists who were also settling down in South America by the Brazil area. Okay, we will talk about certain issues they had with Spain as well later on, and how they actually signed a treaty that actually make them share areas, right? Okay, but let's keep on looking into this slide. It says also that both Spain and Portugal needed hands to work in plantations, right, and minery. So guess what? They started to force Native Americans to become slaves. Yeah. Now, just in case, we need to understand that the slavery is a practice of holding people against their own will, and they have to work without getting paid. Yes. So in order to one person become a slave is someone who will not get any pay, or in this case also will not actually work as they want it. They will be working against their own will. Okay. All right, let's keep on going. Now, many thousands of Native Americans actually died during this time. Okay, in some cases they were not actually getting fed, and they actually died by hunger. And because they were working many hours, in some cases they were working up to 18 hours. Okay, can you believe that? You will be just working, and barely sleeping, and no free time. Well, also we have to understand that the Europeans, when they arrived with their ships, they brought diseases. Two of the main ones who actually took over many Native American lives were measles and smallpox. Okay, so because they didn't have any medication, they didn't know how to cure them. It's like they most of them passed away. Now, not everything was so bad. We have to understand also that there was one person that tried to help. Okay, he raised the voice in favor of Native Americans who were treated badly. His name was Bartolome de las Casas. Okay, he came to the Americas looking to gain riches. Now, he saw all the cruelty around the Native Americans, and from being a landowner he became a priest and a person who actually fought, and wrote letters to the king in order to abolish slavery. Now, if you look a little bit of and you do a little research, you will find that he made one king. I don't remember right now, I don't recall the name. Probably have it somewhere here. King Charles, yes. King Charles I of Spain actually abolished slavery in paper. Because in reality, like the landowners did not want to let these free workers get away from what they were doing. So they didn't pay attention, but at least it was a nice try from this person, Bartolome de las Casas, who actually spoke in favor of a better treatment for the enslaved peoples. I'm sorry, for the slave Native Americans. Okay, now because the Native Americans were dying and they were decreasing their population, they brought Africans, okay, who were captured in different areas on Africa, and they were sold into slavery, okay. They were actually, separated from their families. They were brought mostly to the Caribbean area, which was considered an area for trading and selling, right? And also in an area by, one part of Brazil, okay? Um, People will go to these places, they will purchase them, and they will be put to work under terrible conditions as soon as they actually got them, to their back to their lands where they had their plantations, right? Okay, sorry. We have to go into this part, is settling the new borderlands. Now, New Spain grew into expanding the area into Mexico, okay? Also the southern of the United States with Florida and California. Now, the Spanish soldiers built presidios in the borderlands. That's important to know. The Spain king chose leaders to govern each settlement. Yes. And they were not able to choose these leaders. They were chosen by the king of Spain. Now, the king also sent missionaries, priests and people who tried to convert Native Americans into Christianity. The missionaries built settlements called missions, and Native Americans actually were living nearby. Now, the life in the borderlands was like I was saying. Some of them, they actually lived nearby. They learned ways of living and working. So Native Americans learned to tame horses, use them for hunting and war. Some learned to raise sheep and to use their wool to make clothing. Now, I got to emphasize that horses and sheep were not animals who were part of these areas of these lands. They came from Europe, okay? Now, the Native Americans, as we said, they were forced to work, right? They work also in haciendas and missions. And some of them didn't agree about doing this type of work, so they tore down churches and other mission buildings to protest against this slavery. Okay, pretty much that's what we need to know, and your homework is vocabulary page 146. You have to complete that vocabulary using your glossary. You have to do reading check, and that's pages 147, 148, and 150. You have 3 questions only. Then when you have to review page 150, there are 4 questions. There are 6 questions, but you just need to do 1 to 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And everything, ladies and gentlemen, will be due by Monday, April the 20th. Okay? I hope you have everything clear. Please don't forget to look into this video again if you need to go back and recheck something you forgot or you didn't understand. Okay? So the idea of having this video is for you to go back as many times as you need. Okay? So I'll say goodbye to you, and I hope to see you back again in the next video. Bye-bye.